Yeah, it was an intimidating presence, actually, wasn't it? You took some sort of courage to go and say, hi.
Right. You did feel like you were in the presence of a movie star.
Well, yes, bloody James Bond, looking back at you.
Yeah. The secrecy thing was quite tricky in a way, because you want to tell your friends you've got a job, you know, and I'm going to be in Doctor Who, and you go, oh my God, that's great, what are you playing? You know, and you kind of go, well,
Can't tell you
too much. I do something very bad and then I die. That's all I can say. That was quite fun.
Exterminated.
Yeah.
I'm just going to open it out to the audience, see if you have any questions from anyone. Any questions at all? Yes, Lee.
Was there a sense when you were playing the kind of, it was the end of an era because it was David Tennant's last, did you pick up on that? Was that the vibe on set?
Yeah, I remember the read-through in Cardiff. I've forgotten the producer's name, but
Tracey.
No, it was Julia was crying. It was quite a significant moment. It was clear even then that this was an really emotional thing that was happening, and everyone was clearly very fond of David and his doctor, and I think it was certainly the end of an era was upon us. It was very evident.
I think because he was such a great leader as well, and I think as a young actor, not long out of drama school, it was nice to see how it should be done, and how much impact and effect one person can have on the whole production, the whole company, because it's such a large machine. There's so many people, and when he would come onto set, it was like a wave of sunshine. Literally everyone would be like, oh, David's coming, and he'd bound on set and be like, hello, I'm David, and he'd come and chat to you. And,
but there was no sense of hierarchy though, was there? He was just a member of the team.
He was really...
Obviously that's the guy with the big quiff, he's the lead, isn't he? He's the one who plays the doctor,
really
but he's still a part of the
respectful.
team.
Yeah, and he never sort of grumbled once, and he was probably on set for a lot of hours, and he never moaned, never said any kind of nasty word. He wasn't bitchy or anything. He was just really positive, and it's nice to see.
That's actually quite, in all honesty, that's quite amazing in whatever profession you do. To have, everyone has their off days, everyone has those Monday mornings where you just think, I really don't want to get out of bed, no matter how much I like my job or don't. That is actually really admirable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's a good lesson to learn. We should take that. We'll take that away with us, really. That's what attitude.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the audience? Yes, sir.
Yeah. Being a blockbuster episode, being broadcast on Christmas Day and everything, like 10, 12 million watching it, did you sit down with your family and do the same, or did you, or no one interested? How did it go?
I had to go upstairs. I couldn't watch it with my family. I don't know why exactly, but I can't. We all said before we came in, actually, we were quite nervous about watching it because it was
absolutely bricking it. Only because you've got no control over your performance. You don't know what take they've used. You hear someone say action, and you just say your words, and you play the scene, and then you do it again, and then you go back to your trailer while they reset the cameras. You come on and do the same thing again. So it's an editor's medium. It's entirely up to some guy in a room with a load of screens as to what comes across on the telly.
Sometimes, I think, Tracey, you went to a screening, didn't you? So you'd already seen it. But, I certainly hadn't been to a screening, so I had no idea what it was going to be like. So you don't want to be there when they all go, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah, but it was still, even though I'd seen it, they cut out one or two scenes, so they saved them for Christmas Day, even though you kind of knew what was going to happen. But it's interesting watching it with your family. It's not. I try to just remove myself whenever I'm in something and just look at it objectively. Otherwise, you'll spend the whole time going, why did I do that with my eyebrow? What am I doing if I, So you just have to kind of watch it, and it was quite difficult anyway because my mum was on the phone the whole time to everyone in the world, just talking through the whole thing.
She's on now.
It was just like that. So it's nice.
Sylvia, did you sit down and watch it with
I
your
did
family?
indeed, yes. I was very relieved that the key that went in the lock, the scene where I turned the key in the lock and David Tennant's running towards it and walking down towards the prisoner and so on. We must have done about 20 takes of that because the damn key kept sticking. sticking, and I thought Euros Lynn, who's the sweetest natured director in the world, just kept saying, well, just do it again, and this key would jam, and the key would jam. And so when I saw it on Christmas Day, I thought, I still had a fear that key wasn't going to turn, but it did. It did.
Can I just ask you about, you obviously have two very different locations, I assume. Was it the location you filmed the prison scenes in, or was it a set?
Oh, it was a...
Caerphilly Castle.
Yes, yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, very
lovely.
cold, but
So what were the conditions
but
like?
kind of creepy. And,
Yeah.
it was a fantastic place to be,
Yeah,
wasn't
it was,
it?
yeah.
What sort of, did you film throughout the night, or?
No,
when
we
did
were
you
filming
film?
in the morning, weren't we?
That one, but I did the bit with the fire and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That was in the middle of the night, a night shoot, and I went for 2 in the morning the first time, and waited, and they said, we haven't got to you, can you come back at 2 o'clock tomorrow morning?
Oh.
So I did, but that was an amazing place, huge industrial waste area in the middle of the night. It seems to be deserted, and then suddenly you come across hundreds of people making a film.
And the contrast, you had a mixture of
Yeah.
location and set. didn't you?
Yeah.
Beautiful set.
Tredigger
Yeah.
House
Yeah.
and in the
Yeah.
predominantly in the studio. Yeah.
Yeah. It was lovely. It was a bit strange because I think we filmed it in the April. It's filmed across maybe
Yeah.
6 weeks, so we'd come up and do a few days and
Yeah,
then
we
go
did
away.
3 blocks, didn't we?
Yeah, so it was a bit strange seeing Christmas decorations in
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
But it was lovely. It was a really lovely set, and yeah, they kept us warm in big puffer jackets.
I did. Yeah.
And Simon and I would go on little little missions. I'm not sure if we should put this.
I was asked, did you get a chance to explore, or so what were your
We
missions?
did.
Well, you'll forgive me for using a small swear word here. I had a break. I was in the next studio, which was the TARDIS set, and my friend Mike rang me and said, "All right, mate, what are you up to?" And I was able to use the sentence, "Just dicking around in the TARDIS." What are you up to? Yeah, that was a memorable moment for me.
Yeah, I forgot
And then we
what
went
it
on the
was.
Sarah Jane adventure
Yeah,
set.
we went on the Sarah Jane adventure
Just
set. We were
exploring.
like climbing around. It was really.
Did anyone know?
I do now.
I do now.
Oh well. I
And-
forgot also what it was called, the TARDIS, because Star Trek, huge fan at the time.
bridge.
So I was like, I'm on this thing. I called my friend who's the biggest Doctor Who fan ever. I said, I think I'm on something called the TARDIS. It's the TARDIS. It's wasted on you, you Trekkie. So I was like, okay, right, I'm gonna make this up to you. It's like, how? Seriously, it was like really cross to me. I was like, I'm gonna make it up to you. So in the break, I went up to David and I said, David Tennant, I said, David, could you, my friend's at work and he's having a really rough day, could you leave a message on his answering machine and tell him, that he's a really cool guy and stuff like that. So he's like, yeah, sure, I could do that. So my friend called me back and he was like, Tracey, David Tennant is on my answering machine. So I was forgiven.
Did we film on my mobile phone an episode of Through the Keyhole in the TARDIS? You remember that?
I think we did.
Because the TARDIS
So
set.
naughty, quite
It was
frankly. weren't
bad.
you? Did
Yeah.
you steal anything?
No.
No, not officially. No. But the TARDIS set, as it were, you've got the doors. On the other side is actually, I'm sure they film people walking into the TARDIS so you can actually see the inside. So we did film a little on my
Episode.
mobile phone, messing around of let's
Yeah.
go into the TARDIS. Quite cool.
How have you found the reaction from the public and from the fans?
Well, the fan letters were just lovely. Letters from children, letters from adults, people. So nice and so friendly. I was very, very, very touched. It was really lovely, that was. That was the nicest part of any production I've ever done was that, getting those letters, yeah. So
Agreed,
with you?
absolutely, yeah, it was amazing.
It's a huge confession. I didn't realise how big it was until I started saying to people, I've just been offered an episode of Doctor Who, and people who I wouldn't have expected. People who just all went, in fact, everybody just went, oh, that's great, and it was huge. And my next door neighbour, because I didn't know the history of it, I was slightly confused about why the Doctor was trying to save somebody who was trying to kill him. Didn't make sense to me because I didn't know the history. So I had to go next door before I did my audition for for her to sort of give me the history of it, and it turned out her nephews also loved Doctor Who, and I had this top secret, you know, script and bits and bobs, and I thought, well, I'll be able to give them that after the episode come on. So I held on to them and gave them. And they were just so thrilled with just a call sheet or something, you know.
Yeah.
It's quite strange because my my dad is a professor of electronic engineering. He's a scientist, so nothing to do with like theatre at all. And he said 4 of his other lecturers have emailed him going, "Is your daughter in Doctor Who?" I was watching with my son. You were watching, and I think it's great. So it's really cool. I hadn't realised either how sort of far-reaching it was. It doesn't matter like how old you are, what gender you are, like where you're from. There's something in it for everyone, which is really nice.
Well, thank you very much for coming on and talking to us today. And welcome to the family. You're here to stay whether you like it or not. And I could carry on talking to you for another hour, but unfortunately we've come to the end of time.